Hello everyone, welcome to Dr. Lee's Evidence-Based Integrative Medicine, a place where Asian wisdom meets modern science. I'm your host, Xu Chen. In this episode, I would like to share with you what I know about dietary supplement. I assure you that after completing these videos, you will know all the pros and cons of dietary supplements. We'll cover the laws and regulation of dietary supplements, the categories of dietary supplements, how to choose the dietary supplements, understanding the terms, and how to read labels. What are some important factors to pay attention to, and my personal recommendations. Let's start with some statistics. There are around 75,000 different supplements on the US market currently, making it a $191 billion industry globally. In the US, 75% of the population have consumed a dietary supplement in 2022, and the market is growing at a fast pace at a rate of 5 to 6% per year. What is dietary supplement? The purpose of dietary supplements, based on the definition, is to provide supplemental nutrients that are insufficient in our daily intake. For example, if I am a vegetarian and cannot get enough vitamin B12 or omega-3 from my diet, it makes sense for me to take dietary supplements. Over time, the use of dietary supplements has evolved beyond merely just meeting the daily nutrition need, but also to improve overall well-being. Based on the Dietary Act established in 1994, dietary supplements can include micronutrients such as vitamins, minerals, as well as herbs, amino acids, and other dietary substances. The categories of dietary supplements is further divided into like vitamins and minerals, and those are considered as micronutrients. There are also common dietary supplements that including omega-3, coenzyme Q10, melatonin, lutein, SAMe, or probiotics. Botanical supplements like St. John wort, elderberry, and turmeric, mushroom are also gaining increasing popularity. So what are some of the risks associated with dietary supplements? From the product manufacturing perspective, there are primarily two major risks: adulteration and contamination. So adulteration refers to including the ingredient in supplements that do not match the manufacturer's claims. For instance, some weight loss supplements have been found to contain undisclosed stimulants. Also, there are incidents where less expensive ingredients have been substituted for the actual more expensive ingredients. Another risk is contamination. The manufacturing process of the dietary supplements can introduce microorganisms, heavy metals, and pesticides if the proper manufacturer standards are not implemented. According to a FDA report in 2019, 25% of supplements did not establish product specification, such as identity, purity, strength, and composition. In addition, 22% of supplements did not have or follow written procedures for quality control. So how are dietary supplements regulated? Are FDA regulating diet supplements? Well, the answer is yes and no. In 1994, Congress introduced the Dietary Act, which is the Dietary Supplement Health and Education Act. The Dietary Act did establish current good manufacturing practices, namely the cGMP standards, setting the bar for labeling, quality, consistency, purity, and potency, as well as a report system for adverse effect. However, there are limitations of the Dietary Act. Although there are published standards for manufacturing process, there is no obligation to follow them. Also, the supplies of raw materials are exempt from cGMP. For instance, chondroitin is a supplement commonly used for osteoarthritis. We may have a standard and regulation for chondroitin production, but the animal tissue used to make chondroitin are not regulated by the cGMP. What is more striking is that since FDA has limited resources to enforce manufacturer compliance, it does not conduct pre-market assessments to evaluate the efficacy or safety of supplements. So the supplement can be placed in the market without FDA approval. This is different from medications. The concept behind that is that it is the producer's responsibility, not the FDA, to ensure the quality of the dietary supplements before marketing them. What FDA can do is that after products are in the market, the FDA can conduct factory inspections in response to complaints or concerns about the quality of product. So how can we choose product wisely? I will say this third-party certification is definitely helpful. Third-party certification is typically carried out by independent organization. They thoroughly examine whether dietary supplements manufactured following the good manufacturing practices. There are 3 well-known third parties: USP, NSF, and Consumer Lab. These organizations test both the contents and the quality of products. They check if the ingredients match the label description and if there are any pollutants. They also evaluate whether the manufacturing process complies with the USP or FDA guidelines. They do have slightly difference in terms of the methods to collect samples, the frequency for testing, and the cost for product certification. It is worth noting that only 12% of dietary supplements is third-party approved. Still, I personally find products with a third-party certification more reassuring. The next part I'm going to go through is how to read labels. But before that, let's delve into some key terms first that we'll utilize in the further slides in the future. There are recommended dietary allowance, which is RDA, or adequate intake, which is AI, are both used to determine the daily intake of the certain nutrients, but they are slightly different. RDA stands for Recommended Dietary Allowance, and it represents the average daily dietary nutrient intake level that is sufficient to meet the nutrient requirement of nearly all healthy individuals. And this is supported by the evidence and medical research. Adequate intake, on the other hand, is used when there is no scientific evidence available to establish the RDA. It's essentially a recommended daily intake level that is assumed to be adequate for healthy individuals. Upper intake level, UL, is a measurement of the highest intake level of a nutrient that is likely not to pose a adverse health effect. In other words, it's the maximum amount of nutrient you can consume without experiencing negative health consequences. This graph is a common label of multivitamin, so let's use this as an example. On the top, you will notice the words supplemental fact, indicating that it follows a supplement standard. This is distinct from packaged food that you can buy, which use nutrient standards. There are notable differences between the supplement facts for dietary supplements and nutrition facts for foods. One of the key distinctions is that dietary supplements must list all the ingredients, even those without established daily value. Serving size specify how many pills or tablets that is in a single serving. On the bottle are presented as amount per serving, as you can see, not amount per tablet. So that means sometimes a single serving may contain multiple tablets, requiring us to take several tablets to reach the nutrition level listed on the bottle. The serving per container just informs us how many months worth of supply is contained in the bottle. For example, as you can see the bottle here, it contains 50 pills, and each serving consists 1 tablet. So you know that this bottle contains 50 days supply. So daily value refers to the percentage of daily requirement that can be met by consuming 1 serving of the supplement. Here you can see that this supplement contains 10 milligrams of zinc, which covers 50% of daily requirement. So how to determine this daily value? The daily value is determined based on either the RDA or adequate intake. Typically, 5% of daily value is considered low, while 20% of daily value is considered high. However, I would say it's important to know that many supplements may have significantly high daily values. For instance, the RDA for vitamin B6 is 1.3 milligrams per day. However, we often use B6 supplements at a much higher dose. For example, you want to use for a pregnancy-related nausea vomiting. Sometimes you can use up to 10 to 25 milligrams 3 times a day, which can be up 50 times than the daily value. Other ingredients also listed here, and those include fillers, binders, preservatives, are also listed in the descending order by weight. Regarding health claims, it's important to know that FDA has currently approved only 12 health claims. These 12 health claims are all backed up and supported by high-quality medical evidence. Any other claims that are not officially recognized by the FDA must include a disclaimer, stating that they have not been evaluated by the FDA, should include in the wording, "This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease." So next time you get bottles, you can try to read the label yourselves. When it comes to botanical supplements, there are additional labeling requirements. In addition to listing the dosage of material being used, such as the example here, it has 1000 milligrams of St. John wort. The bottle also should include information about specific parts of plant being used, whether it's the aerial parts, flower parts, whether it's a root parts, and it's different between the different herbs. You should also list the active and marker compound, which represent the key active ingredient of the supplement. So for example, you can see here, the key ingredient of the St. John wort is hypericin at a dose of 1.35 milligrams. So previously we discussed the risks associated with the dietary supplements from a product manufacturing perspective, including adulteration and contamination. What I want to address here is the dietary supplements, even though it's not medicine, it can have adverse effect. For example, beta-carotene or vitamin A are powerful antioxidants are important to our health, but can increase the risk of lung cancer in smokers by up to 20%. Taking dietary supplements at high dose can also lead to toxicity, such as selenium toxicity occur when the dose is more than 3200 micrograms a day, and vitamin B toxicity can occur when the dose is more than 500 milligrams a day. This is why we established the upper intake level as a reference guide to prevent supplement-related toxicity at high dose. It's also crucial to consider whether the dietary supplements can interact with medications or treatments. I generally discourage the use of antioxidant supplements for patients receiving radiation therapy, because antioxidants may neutralize the free radicals generated during the radiation therapy, which are intended to harm cancer cells. That being said, I will still encourage patients to eat healthy food with various vegetables, just not the supplements with the antioxidant properties. Some herbs like ginkgo possess anticoagulative properties, so I will exercise caution when giving ginkgo in somebody who's taking multiple blood thinners. Last but not the least, many herbs can affect the CYP enzyme in the liver, which share the same metabolic pathways of certain drugs. This interference can also impact the concentration of drugs in the bloodstream. And the famous example is St. John wort is a very powerful inducer of the CYP3A4, 2A9, and 2A19. The first thing I talk about diet supplement is do no harm. Let's not forget that besides the dietary supplements themselves, we also need to take into account the individuals who use them. There are some populations who are more vulnerable to the effect of dietary supplements because they may not be able to metabolize these supplements as effectively as the general population, such as patients with kidney disease or liver disease. There are also many herbs that have not undergone long-term safety studies, for example in the pediatric population. When the herbs are used in children, there are equations that can be employed to adjust the supplement dose accordingly. When it comes to dietary supplements for pregnant women, caution is essential. While some dietary supplements may have demonstrated safety and have been traditionally used, others may lead to preterm delivery or have detrimental effect on the fetus. So what are my personal recommendations? First and foremost, let's keep the dietary supplement simple. We can start with 1 to 3 supplements that suit your needs and slowly introduce it more over time. This way, one can know how the body reacts and whether dietary supplements make a positive difference. Some supplements might take a couple months to show the full benefits as well, so be patient. Also, just like we make life choices, we should assess the pros and cons on dietary supplements. We should look for ones that have solid medical evidence, or at least have some scientific backing and have been used for a while. We want the supplements that work, or at very least, will not harm us. And don't hesitate to chat with an integrative health provider can guide you through the pros and cons and do's and don'ts for the supplements. And I think it's helpful to find the supplements have a third-party certification. It ensures, at some extent, the quality and the safety of the products. Lastly, let's don't forget the basics, is to eat healthy. Sometimes you don't even need to take supplements if you eat healthy and have enough dietary intake. So keep it simple, assess the pros and cons, talk to an expert, and find a third-party certification. And remember, a good diet can go a long way. Thank you for your attention today. There are some resources for your reference. Please reach out to me if you have any questions.